Hey everybody, this is Paige and I have a quick tip for you today. This is a great tip for planning layouts with specialty dyes such as X Factor, Diamond Mine, Crisscross, even things like the 5 square blocking set or the perfect spots, any of these that are a little more complicated to set up. All you really need is to get a couple pieces of cardstock, one for a background piece, the other one to create your die shape. And once you create these pieces, you can lay them on your grid paper and figure out where you want to place it before you start cutting into your photos or paper. So it's really easy to set up. Again, all you need is to grab the die collection you want to create and the basic dies that match the same exact size. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, it's really easy to create all the pieces. What you want to do is get the die you want to cut. I have the 3x4 X Factor die here, along with the 3x4 die from set C. And as you can see, they're both the same size, so they would fit the grid the same. So first you want to take your basic die and cut a piece of cardstock. I'm using white. We have a ton of white. So really, you don't need to use cardstock or anything. Well, I would probably use cardstock for the bottom piece, but for the top piece, you don't even have to use cardstock. I would just use leftover paper you have. White tends to be a cheaper color to get. Now I'm going to cut with the 3x4 X Factor die here, and I have green cardstock. I just have a ton of it. So if you have a lot of cardstock, you just collect it over years and need to use, this is a great project you can do. And like I said, we've even done this with thin paper that's cheaper, so that works as well. And of course, if your die cuts get stuck in your die, you can use the pair of tweezers and get that shape out. Alright, so the next step is to glue your pieces. So I'm using this adhesive to glue the back of the 3x4 X Factor. And yes, it is a different adhesive than normal. This is from Scrapbook Adhesives. We found that it doesn't work as well as the Herma, but I have a bunch of it here, so you don't have to use the most expensive adhesive. Save your Herma for, your finalized projects. So I just wanted to point that out there. You can make this very cheap. Obviously, you don't have to use all the expensive stuff to do this project. And of course, once you have the back of the die glued down, you can place it on top of the white cardstock or whatever color you are using. So before I started filming this video, I went ahead and made other prep pieces. I guess that's what we'll call them, the preparation pieces with other X Factor dies. And as you can see, I use just blank white cardstock behind them because, like I said, that tends to be a less expensive color, and then you can use some extra cardstock or extra paper you have at home that's also cheap to cut the specialty dies with. So these are multiple dies from the X Factor collection, and what's nice about having these pieces is you can play around with them and see what kind of designs work and what do you want to do. There is so much you can do with the X Factor dies, particularly. We have so many of them, including the double X Factor dies. So go ahead and have fun playing around. I recommend getting in the habit of doing this when you first purchase your dies. So I recommend as soon as you get them, because creating a project immediately can be a bit overwhelming for many of you. So I recommend as soon as you get your dies sent to you in the mail, go ahead and make these prep pieces. For one thing, it helps you know if your die is working properly and helps you check your die machine sandwiches. Sandwich, I mean how you stack the plates and stuff for your die machine. And it's also, I think doing this probably will help it be less overwhelming for planning, and you kind of get an idea of how they can go together, what kind of layouts you can create. And it's really fun to see the possibilities. And like I said, X Factor is one of the ones that's a huge collection. There's so many possibilities. I don't even think we've done it all. So go ahead and play around. You can mix and match however you want. And this is a good idea too if you, let's say, want to mix the X Factor with the Crisscross and see if they'll line up okay before you actually commit to creating a layout. Anyway, we have reached the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you enjoyed this tip, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to see more tips like this one in the future. I'll see you next time.